The work of a 911 dispatcher is stressful. You're dealing with trauma all the time, even though it's at a distance. And it's because of that distance that dispatchers haven't gotten the same attention as, say, EMTs and police in dealing with PTSD and other mental health issues that arise from handling emergencies. We step inside the 911 dispatcher room in St. Lawrence County to see what life is really like there. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Morja Wealth Management, serving the North Country for 3 generations. MorjaWM.com. Securities offered through Hightower Securities, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. Hightower is an SEC-registered investment advisor. And Kinney Drugs, now accepting S3, Nations Benefits, and OTC Network Wellness Benefit Cards for eligible over-the-counter health items. Details at KinneyDrugs.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Tuesday, January 20th. First up, the North Star Health Alliance is laying off more than 100 workers between its 2 hospitals in Ogdensburg and Carthage. WWNY-TV acquired audio from a staff meeting on Monday. This is North Star CEO Richard Duval.
We expect the impact to be around 120 positions, and that's almost a 50-50 split between the 2 campuses. We understand behind every position is a person. Behind that person is a family, and obviously these decisions affect all of those folks.
The layoffs include management, clinical, and non-clinical employees. North Star says it needs to lay off staff to become more financially stable. In December, North Star said it was on the brink of closure because the state hadn't paid millions of dollars in reimbursements. But the state argued it cut off payments because North Star hadn't provided basic information about how money was being spent. North Country Assemblyman Scott Gray told WWNY he wants to see a resolution between North Star and the state.
It's a frustrating, very frustrating situation, and caught in the middle of all of this are people's livelihoods.
In a statement, North Star said it's evaluating how it could streamline its services. The state would have to review and approve any changes. Governor Kathy Hochul proposed a $260 billion budget for New York State today. It includes new money for child care, but no new taxes. Jimmy Vielkind reports for the New York Public News Network.
Hochul's budget will increase funding for schools and add more than $1 billion for child care vouchers. Blake Washington is the governor's top fiscal aide. He says strong returns on Wall Street and continued consumer spending mean New York can afford to pay for it without raising taxes.
With the amount of revenue coming into the state of New York, thanks to a progressive tax code, there's no need to increase taxes in the current year.
Millionaires in New York City already pay the highest combined tax rate in the country. Progressive groups and Mayor Mamdani say they want to tax the wealthy more, setting up a potential clash with Hochul. The state budget is due March 31st. In Albany, I'm Jimmy Vielkind for the New York Public News Network.
A new local food hub is coming to northern St. Lawrence County. The Adirondack North Country Association is partnering with Dan and Cherie Witten to open the facility in Winthrop. The Wittens currently own and operate the ADK Food Hub in Tupper Lake, which sells and prepares local food for more than 40 farms in the area. The new hub in Winthrop will allow farmers to store large quantities of food that can then be distributed to retailers around the region. The food hub is being funded by a nearly $470,000 grant from New York State's Department of Agriculture. The Adirondack North Country Association says it expects to break ground on the hub later this year. At its best, calling 911 is stressful. At its worst, it could be one of the most catastrophic days of your life. But on the other end of the line, there are trained professionals who work quickly to get you the help you need. Catherine Wheeler visited St. Lawrence County's dispatchers to learn more about their work.
Before I can say anything about the ambiance of the St. Lawrence County Dispatch Center, dispatcher Charles Lamika warns me not to jinx it.
We have the belief that if you say quiet, that's a bad thing to say.
So it's pretty peaceful. Blinds keep sunlight from coming in big windows. Overhead lights glow over a pod of desks. The smell of popcorn drifts out of the kitchen. The calm contrasts with the cool blaze of dozens of screens. Security camera footage, weather reports, local news, and maps light up both ends of the room. At each desk, 6 computer screens shine in the faces of dispatchers. And then the phone rings.
911, what is the address of your emergency?
Central Dispatch.
This is where St. Lawrence County dispatchers answer 911 calls. As soon as they pick up the phone, dispatchers start collecting as much information as they can about the emergency. Dispatch Operations Supervisor Tammy Sapp says it can be overwhelming for a lot of callers.
It's so that we can provide that information to the responding rescue squad and let them know as much information as we can for what emergency they're facing, and so they can prepare themselves for when they get on scene.
Dispatchers have different roles. Some answer the call, while others work in the background, coordinating with police, fire, rescue, and paramedics. Sapp says it takes a lot of time and training before a dispatcher is fully comfortable answering calls and managing each situation. She started part-time more than 20 years ago when everything was still pencil and paper.
It was intimidating, it was overwhelming, and when I remembered my first day walking in, and I thought to myself, there is no way I'm going to remember all this.
It can take years to build up confidence. Charles Lamika has been a dispatcher for 8 years. He says it took about half of that before he felt really comfortable answering the phone.
It really comes with time. That actually becomes muscle memory, and it's much easier than a lot of people think.
Lamika says now that he's trained, his biggest challenge is what he hears on the other end.
With calls, I get disturbed the most when I feel helpless, and there's nothing I can do to help them, and you do get those calls.
Sapp says those calls stick with them. Any dispatcher can name their toughest.
Calls involving children, those are hard for people. You take a 911 call and you have a couple that's been together for 60 years and one of them is unconscious and the person's, please get me help, I can't lose her. Those are tough calls.
Research shows that 911 dispatchers face mental health challenges just like any other first responders. A study from 2015 found that between 18 and 24% of dispatchers have PTSD. They also experience burnout, anxiety, depression, and suicidal ideation due to the stress of their jobs.
We hear a lot, we deal with a lot. We don't always know the outcome of every call, but probably 75% of the calls we know the outcome, and it's not always a perfect outcome. So it is a lot to process.
But dispatchers are often left out of the conversations and research around first responder mental health because they're not directly present at the scene of accidents. Senior dispatcher Jackie Brown says that doesn't change the impact.
I've had some really bad calls and little triggers have come back to me and the feeling just rushes through my body and it's like, oh, I remember that voice.
Brown says dispatchers learn to deal with the adrenaline rushes of intense calls by taking a deep breath and relying on their training.
And if there's something that we can do to help them, whether it's give them instructions on CPR, first aid instructions, or what we can do before the ambulance or fire truck gets there, we try and get them through that and then hope they have a better day.
Sapp says addressing mental health has been one of the office's priorities in the last few years. She says they work hard to make sure each person has the support they need to keep going, whether it's talking it out, going on a walk, or taking a day off. Sapp says the struggles will always be a part of the job, but it doesn't outweigh the importance of what they do.
We are the calm voice in the dark. We're the people that you never see, you never hear about, but we're the ones that get the help to our community members, keep our community safe, but we're the ones nobody ever sees.
But there they are, from their office on Court Street, ready to answer the next call and the one after that. Catherine Wheeler, North Country Public Radio in Canton.
If you or someone you know is struggling, call or text the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988. We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Patricia Julian of Burlington and Matt Bullwinkle of Potsdam. I'm David Sommerstein, North Country Public Radio.